Hello, my name's David. I'm an environment artist, and here we are again in Cairn, episode 3. So, I've discovered something about this game that I've been kicking myself that I didn't see in the other videos, and I'm gonna use that a lot in this episode because it's absolutely fantastic. Um, that of the functionality of reviewing your whole route that you've been through, and we'll have a good look at the route I've taken so far. We'll have a look at where I've got to so far and the issues that I have encountered. And one kind of pretty big issue, which we'll get into. But first, thank you, channel members. As usual, I want to send out my heartfelt gratitude to all you lovely people who are supporting me in all this. Yeah, it's tremendous help. And if you want to become a channel member, we've now got a Discord channel which I've set up. So channel members, we can all have a good chat over on Discord. So maybe I'll see you in there. And if you are considering being a channel member, then yeah, you have my extreme gratitude. Thank you very much. A lot of kind people out there. So without further ado, let's get on to this. Let's get on with it. Right, so, Arva here has been having a great time climbing around and falling off mountains and all sorts of stuff. And I did not fully appreciate just how hardcore this game gets. And yeah, I've got myself into a sticky situation, and I'll go over that in a bit. But first, right, what I want to show you, which is an amazing thing, right? Because we've got LB, press LB, and you can review a bit of stuff here, right? And I found that this is a bit restrictive. You can only sort of go there and kind of there and zoom out that way and sort of going that way. You can't really, it's limited, let's say. And so I was a bit puzzled at that. But what the game doesn't really tell you, or I mean it does if you look at the bottom left, display route with Y button, right? But the game doesn't really go out of its way to let you know about it. And now, what we've got is a fully unlocked free cam mode with 0 limitations within the playable area, which is absolutely fantastic. I think it's amazingly good and a really great idea on part of the devs. But I don't know why they sort of kind of slightly hid it behind the Y button, because to me, you should just press the LB and you should be in this mode straight away. It just seems like an unnecessary bit of friction that's been put in your way. And indeed, I've played it for 8 hours without realizing it. So, but I've had to reload an earlier save because of issues we'll get into. And this was the issue here. You can see my route and some skulls there showing deaths. Sadly, I killed Arba at least 3 times. I'm sure it was far more than that. But yeah, I've got into a situation and yeah, But never mind that. What I'll do, I'll fly back very fast over our route here, right? And then I'll go back up in more detail and I'll take you through the adventures. But the brilliant thing about this, I use Otis Inth camera tools, which I think he's called Francis Baumer over on Patreon, and he does a great thing with making debug camera tools for lots of different games, and he has one for Unreal that kind of covers pretty much the whole swathe of Unreal games, which is a tremendous help when, for me as well, just doing stuff like this, viewing games, you can clip through the scenery and all that sort of stuff. So that's a great tool. But here I don't need it because the developers have very kindly provided me with this. And more developers should be a bit more generous with their camera tools, I think. Having photo mode is brilliant, isn't it? I'm glad that's widely adopted. It's a great thing. But this is fantastic, and we'll get into it shortly. There's the whole mountain. Look at that. Can you imagine just getting up to that peak? I'm really excited to sort of, head up there. It's so good. But, so, the game proper starts here. The tutorial is down there, over there, on a sort of rock wall thingy. And you start off sort of halfway up a cliff in this sort of, well, you start off in a little bivvy tent anchored to the wall, which is quite exciting. But yeah, there's the view. And we'll go up the route and all that lot. But first, ReShade. And here we are in our interpreted world normal. Let's get that out of the way. Yeah, it looks just like the world normal, and it's interpreted from the depth buffer. Let's just get that out of the way. Depth buffer, edge detection, extract the facets and face normals, color it so that, you know, it looks like the world normal. And it effectively kind of is the world normal, isn't it? But, you know, we're looking at the depth buffer, really. So, this is absolutely fantastic. I love this view because it tells us a lot about how the world is constructed. I mean, what a lovely clean view we've got as well. I really like that. But if I combine this with some slightly funky wireframe, again, this is just an edge detect. It's highlighting the facets that the edge detect algorithm from the depth buffer is extracting. So, you know, to a great degree, we can see all the faces of the polygons. And where that face is entirely planar, i.e. completely flat on its surface, there aren't any edges to detect within that planar surface, you know. So it only picks out angle changes, essentially. So, but what this is good for, you see all these, where it fades to black and then pops back out again, all that funkiness, right? Ignore all the wider thing. I know that's a bit distracting, but try and tune it from your mind. Focus. And wherever you see that, where it changes to black and back again, that's a LOD swap. So, all these LOD changes, all the one. And how they've constructed this world, really. I mean, I don't know. I've not got any information from developers or anything. But from just observing, you know, you can infer and see what's happening. So they've got the broad shapes of the terrain. You know, they've got a really basic mountain like that. Look at the size of those polygons there. You know, it's all flat planar surfaces. But, and I know I just said that we can't actually tell divisions within planar surfaces, but I wouldn't mind betting that that is just one big polygon, and that is, and there, because you can't get over there, and there's no need for any more polygons there. So, you know, that's it. And so this whole mountain will be basically constructed like that. And what they've done is inserted. So let's take that one in the middle of the screen here. That one. You know, that's an insert. You can see its bounds here. And they create the detail of the mountain with these. So, you know, whenever you see it change to black, that is its own asset. And they've peppered it all over, kind of like cladding on the low poly mountain. And they've placed all of these different sections here to build up this rather wonderful mountain with all its different handholds, ledges, and all that sort of stuff. So if we go back into that, let's say, look at this one here, or even maybe a more detailed one, like sort of that one there, you know, relatively detailed, a nice little ledge we've got there. And then as we come back, pop LOD. So if you look closely at the topology of that, you can see that's less polygons than after the swap. So keep an eye on that one there, less. And then as we go back, even less, looking at the same asset. And then as we go back, even less. If you could zoom right in there, you could see that's probably like about, I don't know, 20 polygons, something like that. And so if we come back, so there it swaps there, there it swaps there, there it swaps there. And that's our high res. So it's interesting, isn't it, that the whole mountain is made up in that way. Higher poly assets on top of the very low poly mountain. And, you know, they've just placed them. And I mean, I don't know how, under what rules they've decided to place them. You know, there's a whole system. And they'll have had to make sure that the player can actually get up the mountain with handholds within reach and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I mean, that's the challenge of the game, isn't it? So I'd imagine that would have been quite difficult to do. And I did read that they'd done it mathematically in some way, with limb placement and reach and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, I don't really know how they've done it. But, yeah, really nice to be able to spot that. I was thinking that as it changes the LOD swap when it goes black, I was kind of finding that a bit annoying in a visual sense, but it actually tells us, you know, it's a clear indication. LOD swap, LOD swap, LOD swap. So that's a bit of a gift. Yeah, I like it. And yeah, when we turn off the wireframe, of course, we get the beautiful, crisp, wonderful view here. You know, it's so clean and informative in how you're making the landscape. I mean, check out there, Cross-Billboard LODs for the trees down there. Can you see them now? So that's just two quads at 90 degrees to each other, and you call it a crossed billboard. Many games might have axis aligned billboards so that it always faces you. I mean, cross billboards, generally, you don't really need to axis align them. You know, the whole point of the crossed billboard is so that you can see a tree that looks pretty alright at any angle without any scripts running to calculate angles and all that sort of stuff. So it's very efficient. But yeah, I mean, we can see it all there, can't we? And to me, it looks like it's hard to see actually. I think they might all be cross billboards. I can't get any closer than this of this camera view. But you know, there are at least some. Oh yeah, there we go. We've got axis aligned single poly billboards here. So there can you see these little trees here? They're all aligning to the axis of the camera view. Yeah, and that's cool. And you know, let's turn that off. And they look really good from, you know, the view distance, which is like here. And as you're moving relatively slowly through this scene, you don't really notice that they're kind of all like turning to face you all the time. It's a bit like that weird effect in a painting where the eyes seem to follow you around wherever you go. Yeah. So yeah, really nice mixture of techniques being used here, and it, you know, this reshade view is very useful for seeing all this. And there it is, the wider mounted. So all that aside, let me take you through my route. And so you can see this sort of dotted line here is where I fell. You can see the direction of it there. I'm not completely sure what this other dotted line is because that's going up. And yet this is my route, the solid line. And you can see the difficulty with the colour, where I've been struggling with presumably stamina and just where it's got a bit dicey, let's say. Interesting, isn't it? So you can see I took quite a tumble here and it went red. So that's where, yeah, my stamina's running out. I'm like, oh no. And then muscle failure, hands let go, way all the way down there, quite a fall down there. So yeah, this is my route, and I'll take you up. Let's go. So then we go up to this lovely little ledge with these cairns, of course, and then checked out the view. I mean, why wouldn't you? And then there's an intro sequence as you walk along this ridge at the sort of I think it was sunset. Some nice music. I love a ridge walk though. Excellent. This camera mode is so cool, isn't it? I can't believe I didn't notice this until I was like way up there. So down we go, and then we get to first sort of open area around here. I had a little mooch around, having a little explore, and then save point up here. There we go, and then a little bit of mooching to and fro. Jump over this bit. On a rather dicey jump maneuver. Now I got up to here and then I fell. And I fell, I went, oh, and I went, oh, hit that. Then I fell down here as I bounced. And then, as I mentioned in the last video, I found a super secret ultra cave. It's not that secret, is it really? You could, you know, if I'd have been more observant, I would have seen it. But nice cave full of beehives and honey. So, I mean, it's a bit like a treasure cave. Brilliant. So I was kind of glad that I fell then, because I was like, yeah, excellent, much needed supplies. So then got up here, couple of falls there, as you can see, as I'm still working out like how the game's working and the handholds and all that lot. I had to go mooch around here, over there, through here. There we go. Up on there. little gondola globe, cool. And then here, as you can see, a couple of falls again. Yeah, little dead end up there. And then this is the route I took over here. Up, 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 up we go. Another viewpoint. Should we have a look? It's lovely. And just like being out there in the mountains in real life, as you get higher and higher, that view gets more and more impressive. Yeah, really cool. So then, up there, up this little stepped bit, much relief achieved when you get up here. You're like, ah, oh, man, look at that. And a viewpoint. Nice little viewpoint marker with descriptions of the terrain. Really cool. And I did notice when I was up here, another nice little cave, which is awesome. So I rappelled down from here, got in the old cave. There was a couple of little supplies and stuff in there. And then over here, see, this game does reward exploration greatly. Another cave in there. So, awesome. And then, there we go, save there. And then it starts to get really hard in this bit. So I'm going to reload my latest save and tell you exactly my problem that I'm having, because I know it shows my route there, but it doesn't give you the information about falls and difficulty and stuff. So I'll just reload that one. Okay, the game won't let me reload the save that I made up here, which is a bit annoying, I'll have to say. Alright, so I will take you through it without the information that I had only moments ago. Yes, so up here, right? I mean, I tried to jump over here to grab the rock face, which is not something I would advise, because death ensues from here. And so, well, you can see there's a tangled old route here. This was really difficult to get up. Really hard work. I tried a lot of different ways up here. Oh man, it was really dicey. Really exciting as well. You know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I managed to sort of get my way up these little vertical cracks. That's the way forward. You've got to make use of the vertical cracks. Jam your hands in there and toes and make your way up there. And I got over here and then got onto there, got up there, fell to my death again. Right, so, and then I tried working around this way. I just got no joy from that whatsoever. And it's not even showing my route that I did get, because I got the route up here. I managed to get up here and just shuffle my way in a really dicey way over there. And I finally made it to there. Got up here, saved, had a mooch around. There's another little cave there which I went down. Interesting in that cave, actually. I won't spoil anything. But got over here, and my problem was that by the time I've got over here and slept, I ran out of water, I ran out of food, all my stats were sort of on minimum, so I can't wait, I can't sleep, I can't recover. Essentially, I'm stuck. And so I thought, right, there is an option in the menu to turn off survival mechanics like thirst, hunger, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, well, that's a good idea, isn't it? And I thought, do I activate that? Which I don't really want to, but that could maybe just get me past that part up to the next section, maybe, and then switch it back off again, which a non-optimal solution, but it would get me past it. Or do I start the whole game again and be much more judicious in my use of supplies, search more thoroughly, and all that sort of stuff, and play the tutorial much more thoroughly to get those little extras that are in there, which I didn't realize. So, you know, I was kind of caught between those two things, and so I thought, right, I'll deactivate survival. I deactivated survival. It didn't work. Hunger and everything's still limiting. I couldn't. So, you know, I don't know what's going on there, but maybe that's a bug in my case. Turning off survival doesn't work, and maybe that's only in certain circumstances. Maybe if you're already at minimum and you turn off those mechanics, it doesn't let you, or it doesn't. I mean, it's not saying that I can't activate it, so or deactivate it. So I would say, if on the off chance developers might be watching, we've got a bug there with the turning off the survival mechanics. So basically, I'm left with no alternative to start the game again, and that's fine. The gamer and the rock climber in me doesn't mind that, because I can then start the game anew with a full understanding of how the game is working. And so, yeah, cool, that's fine. But the working person, the time-starved parent in me, is slightly miffed that I've not wasted them, but I have to then cover ground that I've already done. And usually, if a game doesn't respect my time in that manner, I get a little bit cross at it. I think above all else, games should respect the player's time. So that's a non-optimal situation I found myself in, but I think I will probably start it again. But it's going to mean that I'm going to be delayed in carrying on the journey from there. But that's my criticism of it. So yeah, there you go. And I've just noticed that rather cleverly, it's a good idea that they've limited this free mode to the point where I've already been. So I can't literally just go to the top of the mountain from here. It only lets you review in detail the route that you've already traversed, and I think that's a good idea. I think so. Yeah. So that's my kind of situation so far. Really, I've kind of got up to quite a decent sort of distance in the game. I mean, you see the whole route there, which is wonderful to see, isn't it? And yeah, the game has just hardcored me and kicked me to the ground, really, isn't it? And, I know a lot of players like that sort of thing. They like a real challenge, and yeah, this kind of challenge is great. I like that. It's not relying on Twitch response, muscle reactions, which as a 51-year-old, they're not what they once were with me. But I like the difficulty on this kind of game. But yeah, I think I would have liked a bit of a more accessible way to deal with running out of food and stuff. Yeah, so that's it though. But on the whole, it's a great game. I would highly recommend it. Go into it knowing those things though, and you'll get more out of the experience. So thanks for joining me on that one, and I'll get back to starting this game again, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye bye.